I like your picture of Jimmy Clark and
Ah.
Graham Hill.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Hugh Hatrick Show with me, Hugh Hatrick, and my longtime co-host. It is Rumar. How are you
Hello.
doing, Ru? It's good to see
I'm
you.
very well, thank you very much. I've lost most of my body, as you can tell, and I got a
Your
terrible crick in the
cameras.
neck.
It looks like you're sitting on a very small seat, and you can just barely get above
Oh,
above the table. Can you put your
how's that?
seat
Is
up?
that a bit
That's
better?
better. Yeah, now that's the thing. But it's good to see everyone. I hope you're all well. And feel free to comment. I know we already had Simon and Jerry saying how much they liked the picture there
Simon
of
and
Clark and
Jerry.
Hill. And I know it's Jerry. I never know which one it is, Jerry. I do
Simon.
apologize.
Right,
Oh, it's
Jerry
Simon.
is the
I think.
dead cat. Simon is his name.
I will
But
eventually get
I
there.
think he's just got so used to everyone calling him Jerry that he answers to it anyway. So, you know.
I will eventually get it right. Even there'll be one time when I'm lucid enough that I will be able to get your name right, Simon. So,
So he's put in.
I think we
I
missed
think we
half that
missed half
intro.
that intro. Do you want to do it again?
It's good to see you all. It's good to see you. This is my new rig. Look, I'm sitting in my new ERS, which I have to say is very comfortable and is as solid as a rock. It's whether it's improving my driving skills, maybe a little bit. Maybe I've got a few tenths here and there. But John Votter is here
John
all the way
Votter,
from
yeah.
America. It's good to see you. I'm sure
So,
that name. What?
Simon's telling you off mildly, and Helen's here. Everyone is used to it, even Scotty,
I know.
except you.
But it's good to see everyone. Helen is here as well. And that name, John Votter, that sounds like a detective from an American movie, doesn't it? That's the kind of name that they have.
Pretty sure I was watching him, on a film earlier. I think it was Vorter of Scotland Yard.
That's the
Or
thing.
it could be not Monty Python, the Goon shows. Remember much of the Goon? Oh, John's fell in the water. Sorry. Oh God, I used to love that.
I'm sure it
I
could
still
be.
listen
I'm
to it now
sure
and
it
again.
could be. So I've got a couple
Little
of.
Jim used to fall in the water. You know. So you got Spike Milligan, and Peter Sellers doing all the silly voices.
All right, yep.
Ooh, it's little Jim. He's fell in the water. He's all wet.
DRC, Woody Boy is in here. I've got a question for you, Woody Boy. You have managed to do a 29.5 on race A in that Volvo. And my goodness me, Dutchie's in as well. Good to see you, Dutchie. But Woody Boy, you're gonna have to come on this show and explain to us how you're able to get these times, because we're all struggling. I'm miles away. I'm like on a 32.5 on race A. But so yeah, we need some secrets here. We need people to tell us how do we go faster on these. I even spent all this money on a rig, and now I just look like all the gear with no idea that so I've just spent all my money.
Yeah, and you still get gold times in the time trials. Meanwhile, I'm getting the top, just about scraping into the top 15%. So yeah, shut up, Hugh. We've got Ian in the chat as well. Hi,
Ian, good to see you, Ian. It's great to see you. Now, we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. We are really going to try our very best to be consistent, which is really important. Unfortunately, Neil was going to be joining with us. Neil Chandler was going to be with us today, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to do it at the last minute. But hopefully, we'll get him on next week as well. But really, we're here to chat about Formula One and about GT7. I thought it'd be quite good fun to go over the GT7 races and see what we think of them. And this week has been out. Actually, I tried to record my video, but unfortunately, my OBS is kind of doing all sorts of funny things.
Yeah, he touched it.
Oh, I keep trying to fiddle with the settings, and then whenever I do that, I have to reset it all and get help. Although people will tell me I need help quite often, so that's.
I'm going to move my camera down. I'd put it up so everybody can see that we're in the home office. Though it's backwards, isn't it? But that's anyway. I'm going to put it down now so you can see me properly.
So the good news is we're going to be doing this every week, and we're going to be doing more interviews. Now, I have got a big one. I have managed to get a contact who knows Ben Collins. Now, do you know who Ben Collins is? He was
the Stig? Yes, I'm subscribed to his channel. He's been doing some mad. It popped up with the one where he'd gone back. It somehow managed to get hold of the old Suzuki Liana.
Yes, that's right.
Reasonably priced car. Speaking English, Andre.
Yeah.
And he had some people that naturally I've never heard of. They're big YouTube stars, but one of them's from Leicester. He's actually
He did a really good one.
He
with
lives
Super
like
GT.
6 miles from where I was born, so I can't
Wow.
like him. But he's a nutter, and he's famous. He's got like a garage channel. He's got like
he
a
does all
family
his
garage.
stuff.
He's got this garage
Yeah.
channel. I can't remember, Matt something. I can't remember. Anyway, he recently totaled his. I think it was a Lamborghini. So Ben Collins had him on, seeing if he could not crash a Suzuki Liana. And he failed to not crash it because basically the guy's a Fruit Loop. But Ben Collins is like, he takes him round a couple of laps and he goes, I'm getting out now because you're dangerous. And gets out of the car. Yeah, we like Ben Collins. Sorry, you carry on.
He did a very good interview, kind of side by side with Super GT in one of his most recent gaming.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's got a simulator, and he got Super GT in. And I thought, I've got to see if I can get Ben Collins. So I've got a contact now who hopefully is going to recommend him to the show, and hopefully we'll get him on the show because that would be amazing if we could get him on the show. I mean, the stories he must have would be fantastic.
Seems like a decent bloke, actually.
Yeah.
Seems like
there's lots of good ones here. Yeah. So that's gonna be coming. But I need Woody boy, you're gonna come on my show. I'm gonna force you to come on my show, and we're gonna get you on so we can figure out. We're trying to figure out. We're going to go over this week's
Westminster. No, Home Office, not Westminster.
So this week we have race A. Now I asked Andrew. I said, "Are you familiar, Andrew Rue, with this week's races?" And I got a very interesting reply because I've done 2 of them. I haven't done race C, but I've done race A and I've done race B.
Yeah, but you know I don't do I don't do the daily races because I've done a couple recently. Now I've refixed the fix of the fixed broken rig play seat. It now works again. In other words, so I've been doing a few more. But I had a look at them. You got that Volvo at wherever. Oh, I've got it up in front of me up there. Hold on a minute.
It's a Volvo T5. Now, I think it's about 250 horsepower.
Yeah,
now,
maybe one of the new ones. Wasn't it one of the new ones that came on an update recently?
Yeah, it does. Is it 4-wheel drive? Because I think it had like a Haldex traction control system. And it was one of these ones because it's about 10 years old. So it was out when they had these kind of all sorts of interesting.
It's the V40. The V40 T5. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's front-wheel drive, front-engined. Yeah, because ODTR Cars is here. Good to see you. And we've also got PlayStation Racer, who was in as well. Good to see you as well. The key to that car is don't be aggressive with it. That's an interesting quote. But it's so blooming difficult because it seems like it's an on-off switch when you've got your throttle and you're trying to do, and it seems to just do. It seems it's got snap oversteer on a Volvo, for goodness sake. You maybe have got that on a 205 GTI, on a Peugeot, but not on a Volvo. Volvo, for goodness sake, they made the Volvo 340, which was dreadful. And there's like blancmange on a thing. Remember? Oh, I know you liked one. You had one. I've made a sore point. But you remember they had the Volvo 340? Did you not have a Volvo 340?
No, I didn't. I had a Volvo 360, which has a saloon boot. I had the 2-litre. A 360 GLEI, and it was probably the most powerful car I'd owned up to that point.
Yeah.
And it's got a De Dion rear axle. It's a transaxle gearbox. So they did all this stuff that you would think would make it quite a nice handling car. They failed. It's actually the only car I crashed.
Oh wow, that's the thing.
I was going. We lived in Carnarvon then, and I was driving a slightly damp surface south towards a place called Pennegrois, which is, if you've heard of Bryn Tervel, the singer, the bass singer, he's from there. Anyway, driving down there, and there was an S-bend, and I went down to 4th and lifted off. The tyres were not in the greatest condition, and it started to slide. The back end went on me. It hit the curb, bounced the other way, spinning. One of the tyres burst, and 2 dry stone walls later, and my car very safely looked after me. But we also had a Vauxhall Nova. I went round about 15 mile an hour faster than I did in the Volvo, and it went round fine and didn't crash. So that's when I started getting interested in what they call primary safety, which is the ability to not crash in the first place.
Yes.
Which is why I went for Saabs, and I will always have proper Saabs rather than Volvos any day. Thank you very much. Get lost.
Now,
What a
interesting.
hideous, horrible car, and the worst front seats, so uncomfortable. Back
They were
ache
very
sitting.
spongy. Yeah, they weren't good at all. They weren't good at all.
The FSO Polonaise had better handling. Put it that way.
Well, that's just something. Now, going back to Dutchy, he says, I did the daily on the controller and then almost broke my hands on the Fanatic. No, that is because I'm not surprised. Because that's the thing, that car jumped so much. And Woody Boy is saying, or DTR car is saying, the physical jump does not help. Yeah, there's so many ridges on race A this week, like Colorado Springs.
John is here. John is wrong.
John is here
the 360 was the 4-door saloon, and the 340 could be a 5-door hatchback or a 3-door hatchback.
That's right.
Get yourself sorted, boy.
Hard to tell which was worse. That they were bad.
They're the same car. They're the same car.
Yeah.
It's just one's got a bit of
it
boot.
was. It was something. Now that's the thing. So now shall we have a quick run on race B, which is at Laguna Seca.
Laguna Seca, WeatherTech.
WeatherTech, and it's in Group 4. That's actually not too bad. I think they've got the racing R tyres.
Tyres aren't too bad.
Yeah. Let me know in the comments, or what do you think of this week's race B? I know everyone's using the G70, the Hyundai. It's what's based on a Hyundai, the upmarket Hyundai, if there is such a thing. What do they call it?
The Genesis.
The Genesis, yes, it's just a Hyundai with a couple of badges on it. And
big engine, 3.3 V6.
Yeah,
turbo.
It is.
That's 4-wheel drive, or the proper one is the normal road car one is.
Yeah. Now it's proving to be.
Yes, but you can do it if you wanted to in an Alfa Romeo.
Yes, you could do a 4C, or you can do the 155, because that's in that one. That's quite a good one. So tell me, what do you think? Because people are trying to get into the 29s, I think, isn't it? Is it not a 29s? Or no, it's even earlier than that. It's 27s in race B for that one, that is quite a thing. Hopefully, if I can get my ELBS working.
726, Mr.
Yeah,
Hatrick.
and then I was going against Neil at the time because his time was coming down, my time was coming down, and then I'd beaten him. He'd done a 27 or 28.8, and then I did a 27.7. Sorry, 28.7, and then he got a 28.5. And he may well have done it.
The fastest in the world is a Japanese fella in the G70, as you say, 126.921.
That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm trying to get into the low 28s.
Two of them are in just inside the 126s. Quite a few in the 127s.
Yeah.
Drifter, VQS Drifter. You remember VQS?
Yes. Yeah.
VQS team.
Yeah.
He's Drifter. I remember Drifter. I can't remember their actual real name, but they are 11th fastest in the world in a Supra. Pretty good. But
Woody Boy is right up there, mind. Woody Boy is right up there, with a 130.5, and he's very, very quick. In fact, I think we're going to have
somebody called Yondu, obviously a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, as am I. Tidgey.
Tidgey's very quick.
127.368.
Or 27. Yeah. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Slowly. There's some great names here. I love it.
So, what is the key to race B? You know, it rhymes. What is the key for you very fast people watching? How do you find, because it's very easy to go off on the grass, especially before you get to the corkscrew. That means you go up the hill and you've got that really horrible left-hand corner where you've got the sausage curb. And do you actually clip that? Well, you can't really clip it. Do you go on the left side of that with your left wheels, or do you try and miss it and run out up the hill? That would be my question. What do you think, Roo?
I phased out a little bit there because right. Tell me again. Where are you on the circuit? I do know Laguna.
So it's as you go up the hill and you go under the bridge, and then you've got that really dodgy left-hand corner as you're going up towards the corkscrew, and there's a sausage curve, and some people can take that curve. I don't know how they do it because they can get the left wheels
throws
the
you
left
out,
of
doesn't
that.
It just bounces you straight out onto the gravel, doesn't it? I mean, at my skill level, I've just got to make sure that I've got it under control. That I'm not. I use a little bit of power, to settle the car.
Yeah.
But I always make you got to make sure that you don't start planting your foot down, or you're just gonna wash out onto the gravel. That's from my skill level, which doesn't say much. Yeah. So
Oh,
what's that going to mean to anybody that can actually drive really fast? I can't see how anyone can take that corner, that curb.
It is really
bounce you out.
Well, I think it depends what kind of car you're in. If you've got enough kind of height, if you've got enough kind of height
so you
to be able to get over it,
keep it soft.
You can just manage to kind of keep through it. But Dutchy is saying it's already madness. But I watched one of Key's races today, and he was going round race B, and people were pushing him off everywhere. And I thought, good grief, that's Key, and he's being
they're nuts.
massacred.
I follow Josh Alexander a little bit, and
you mean Rory?
Rory, Josh Alexander. I'm mixing up two people, aren't I? Josh Martin and Rory Alexander. Yes, it's a new. They've genetically engineered a new YouTube driver based on these two people. And Digit Racing, there's a guy called Digit Racing.
Digit's good.
Very fast, fast, very clean, and he does good lessons. Actually, he's another good one for sort of like showing you how to get used to doing things and coaching. And they've got a couple of videos. Pretty much entitled "It's Gone Insane Again," and they're further up than they're in the cleaner, rarefied atmosphere relatively. Yeah.
Well, they all like that because Dutch was saying last week it was the Red Bull hell, and there was 3 dive bomb corners. But at least the Red Bull track is quite a good one for overtaking, and people did enjoy that. And I have to say, I just did a time when I didn't do a race, but I did quite like it because it's got a kind of feel of that first corner is so dodgy, so hard to get right without going wide and getting a penalty. That was a real.
I don't mind the first corner so much. It's I'm going to call it. Technically, it's the third, isn't it? Because you got that slight kink on the straight, but I
mean the actual
strong,
first. Yeah,
I know which one you mean, but the one I think's worse is the
the hairpin at the end. See, I'm slightly better at that than I am on the first corner.
You've got to go down like first gear and whatever, and it doesn't seem to matter how you brake, how you do it. Yeah. Someone's going to dive bomb up. So if you're trying to get it so it's slow enough to actually get round the corner, someone's just going to like that into you. Or smack you up the rear end, and if you're going fast enough to avoid that to happen, you're off, and you've got a penalty. So, what are you going to do? Ian was. I just want to point out. Ian said that the G70, the GT4 is a 4-wheel drive.
It's 4-wheel drive. It is pretty good. But I have to say. Now, I did a thing that people have been telling me to do for a while. Now, I used to use a lot of traction control. Well, especially just on. It was only on one, but I would use traction control for things like GT3. I didn't used to use it on GT4, and I didn't used to use it on most of the road cars. But I used to use it quite a lot on GT3, and I was struggling with my times. And I have to say, now that I've taken it off, it's a lot better. I've actually probably made up maybe a few tenths, maybe even a wee bit more. So that taking off traction control definitely helps, although it's harder in some of the road cars. But I think even, like, for example, last week's time trial in the Mercedes AMG, yeah, you got to turn that traction control off. Absolutely. I don't think I would have been anywhere near it if I was on with traction. I would have struggled. But it's because it is quite. It takes a lot. Yeah, it enables you to be a bit smooth.
Traction, I mean, the problematic ones for me are the ones where you've got a very highly turbocharged engine and it doesn't come in progressively. It's like nothing, Banzai! And then there's no grip. It's just spinning up. If you can't feed the power in progressively, then like you say, the traction control, even then the traction control doesn't really help very much. Yeah, because it just bogs you down, and then you still get too much power. So traction control. The most I ever have it on is 1, because I like to get used to the progressive. Progressively applying the throttle.
Yeah. Definitely better. Woody Boy is saying experiment with ABS on weak, which I do have, and default tune. Now default is that default ABS?
Default is where it uses it.
Oh, it's standard. Standard
sort of thing. Yeah. Do you remember? Do you remember back at a few years ago when I first got it and I had the ABS switched off and I got told off constantly by people constantly. There was our Scouse friend. God, my brain's gone. Do you remember? Oh, you've had him on the show a few times. Sorry, my brain's gone with names.
Darren Turner.
Darren, Darren.
Yes, Darren.
Sorry, I do apologise. Sorry, Darren.
You may well be watching.
I know who you are. I just couldn't remember your name. Darren. Every time I did a stream, it'd be like, turn that ABS on, Andrew. You idiot. It didn't sound like that. Checking the checking, eh? That's what he said.
Depends on the group with ABS. That's right. Because the go-karts are really tricky when you have ABS. Actually, no, they ask you to turn the ABS on with the go-karts, or maybe it's the other way around. Or maybe it's the they want you to put the stability on with the go-karts, perhaps. I know Key was doing things. He was able to he fiddled about with the settings and made it a bit more realistic. And of course, I made the mistake of not using, when in the go-karts, the actual cockpit view. Because it's actually a much better view if you have the cockpit view, because you can see the wheel turning, you can see it a bit more. Well, I normally just have the one with the speedometer.
Oh, so you get the idea where the rest of the car is. Yeah, that makes sense.
ABS
I'd love to have the VR2. You know, the virtual reality thing?
Yeah,
that'd be great, because the problem is when you're sitting in the cockpit view of most of these cars is even though you can use the little thingy to sort of progressively look as if you're looking, when you're driving along, you can't do that. Even though I've got that sort of sat on a little rack, you can't be doing that. But if you can just look like that, I bet that's great. It's like being in a car.
Yeah.
But brakes are my big weakness. You know, the brakes are probably my biggest weakness. My second biggest weakness is the precision of the steering, of sort of the timing of when you start.
Yeah.
Because you can't be thinking about it. It's got to be automatic.
Yeah.
And the faster the car, the worse I am, because of course I get less time to be doing it. You know, it has to be more precise. So so the ABS at the moment, the ABS helps me because I just slam my foot down as hard as possible and hope for the best. You know,
actually, as you were trying to get into from bronze into silver, but you have managed a few silver times, to be fair, on some of them. What would you say is the thing that you've done that's improved that? Then, how do you think you've improved? What techniques?
I stopped trying to overdrive the car. I have this tendency is I'll start slowly, and then and what I should do is then build up. And what I'm doing is I'm getting used to where the braking points are, getting used to where to turn in, instead of overdriving it, just coming off and getting frustrated. And then my weakness is that I then sort of like go banzai a little bit. You know, you're trying to eke a little bit of time out by braking a little bit later, and you brake too much later. So what's changed is that I started to very deliberately slow back down again, and then build up over laps. Because then what you're doing, it's like learning to play the piano. You know what I'm saying? You can't be thinking. I've seen. There was one where Clarkson did a series years ago called Speed, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
And he was in. I can't remember whether it was Richard Burns or Colin McRae, but he was in a rally car with one of them talking about how their brain is working back there for the corner here. Mm-hmm. You know but if you go at those speeds and turn when you think about it, you're already in a tree.
Yeah.
It's all got to be automatic, and that's why these kids, when they start karting at 6, it's in their head. They're wired to do that. So it's like riding a bike or playing the piano. You've got to do it right loads of times and build it up, and then it becomes more automatic. And I think that's helped, because I have got faster over the few years I've had this sim. Yeah, haven't I? You know, you've
absolutely.
Yeah. But I do get frustrated. I just get fed up. It's like, you know, when I've crashed off 3 or 4 times. I put a little video up because Helen was asking me. I get somebody put earlier about the track limits. On at the Red Bull Ring, I think it might have been Ian, being insane, and it's the same. And that one with the AMG Mercedes, the time trial when you're on the sports tyres.
Oh yeah.
And it sets you off, and you've got that double right-hander before you get on the main straight. So before you even start, and if you go a little bit over the line, over the edge, your time goes red. You haven't even started the lap. And you're like, what the hell's that about? You can't have your lap ruined by something you've done 2 corners back from the start of the lap. It's going to slow you down, not speed you up. It's insane. So and this happened, and I just put a little video up. I'd edited it so that
Yeah.
I've got some nice calming music over it, and I was quite proud of myself because it's like one of the first edited videos I've done in years.
Yeah.
Just to explain show to Helen that, like this, it just does my head in it. But if I can manage to get round the first few corners and get into a bit of a rhythm with it, I might not do a fast time, but then once I've got a couple of times in, I can then increase it slowly. But so that's what I've done that's different. But then I thought I was getting somewhere, and then the last few time trials, I'm back, instead of being in the 6%, which I thought, if you think about that, there's however many millions of people doing the time trial.
Yeah.
That's not bad, really.
Yeah. I mean, you've got
6% of the population of people that go racing on this thing. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
So
you got to keep trying, isn't it? And keep.
But now I'm back to the sort of 15% again, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'll just do it for the fun. Do it for the fun now.
Yeah.
So I get fed up, and I want to pick up the rig and chuck it out the window.
So here's a question for you. For people like Woody Boy and Dutchy, the ones who are doing these amazing times, and for you guys watching in the comments, why do you think that what do you think is the main thing that enables you to get these quick times? I know you're saying obviously just not overdriving, letting the car kind of, being in charge of it, but not overdriving. Because you obviously enjoy it to be able to get that kind of performance. And there's a lot of people out there like myself who struggle sometimes to enjoy playing the game because you're not getting the kind of performance that you would like. So that is it's a difficult question.
We have an expectation, don't we? We don't expect to be Michael Schumacher or Max Verstappen,
but we hope to be
Senna,
relatively there.
But we want to feel like, genuinely, I want to feel like I've done a good job. Does that make sense? And I'm having a bit of fun. So when I was moaning the other day that there was no feel in the steering.
Yeah.
I don't know, they've dialed it in a way now that the different tyres really do give you a different steering feel.
Yeah.
So if you're in a sport or a comfort tyre, they get it's like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like a modern car with its electric steering. But you put the racing softs on or racing mediums, and you can really feel what's going on. And you can feel it disappearing as it goes, what's going on with my... Behave.
Your new camera. Your cash converter's camera is calling it a day.
No, it's not.
It's not as focused as it was. It'll come back.
It's focused there.
There we are. That's it. You're like a politician saying, "Don't film me. Don't film me." Putting your hand up so that when you've been caught.
I have called the police because you have asked me a nasty question. I saw that. There's a fellow, wasn't he? He actually called. He pressed his button. He's got like a button. Well, I'm in danger. What? Because somebody came up to you and said, "Why are you being a titty politician?"
German Kiwi is here. Now Kiwi, we've had Woody Boy on as well. We've had Dutchy. We've got DTR as well. Now you're all doing very impressive times, and so we're asking that question of how are you getting these great times, especially on the likes of race A, which is manic, and in a car which is almost impossible to drive and nothing like the actual real car. But so let me know, what is your key? How are you managing to get these times?
Very good.
Yeah, what is the in terms of because we're desperately trying to figure this out.
I just want to point out the fantastic. I saw it a little while ago. Woody Boy's little thing back up there. I guess he's of a certain age. With braking at our age, we have to compensate for reaction times. Yeah, absolutely. Except there is. This is why I know I'm never gonna. This is what cracks me up. I mean, Helen's put. You say 15%. Like that's terrible. Yeah, it is. It's awful. The hell are you talking about? It's really bad. When you got fat old men like this Scottish idiot here going, "Oh, you could get a good time, easy luck." Him and Arky's like who's on a pad.
I know. I don't know how they do it, man. It makes
they're getting gold times. Going, oh yeah, I just got a gold time, but it was the first time I did it, and I'm like, oh, shove that controller up your
£700 on trying to get better equipment, and it doesn't. And
that's the top 1%, isn't it? Is it 1% or 2% for?
I think I've got 1% quicker. But
no. The goal times. They're like, is it 1%?
You've got to be within 3%, like 3% of the goal
3%,
time
is it, or
of
something
the
like
fastest time to get.
And I'm like, really pleased. I'm like, oh, 8%, top 8%. Woo!
I think I'm going to have to go back to the TT of 2 weeks ago, at the Le Mans in the McLaren, because I'm only a tenth away. In fact, I may have even gone down to silver.
The
and it's these chicanes.
the Le Mans one.
Yeah, Le Mans. It was a really good. It was actually quite a good fun TT, but I didn't have enough time to play on it.
They've really done a good job on the engine sound of that car. Oh, that's really nice.
Look at this. We've got breaking news. German Kiwi said.
For real. How do you do a Kiwi German accent? I'm trying to think about that fella that's on Welcome to Jumanji. But if you're Welcome to Jumanji. Anyway, we used to race for real way back when. So that helps. Yes, it does. It does.
Yep.
I'm not saying that like I've done it. I'm pretty sure it does. I just focus on exit speed and experiment with lines. I hope you don't mean those white lines. That's illegal.
That is pretty good, though. Yeah, exit speed is crucial. Absolutely crucial.
Well, this is what Jackie Stewart used to... I'm a Kiwi living in Germany. Well, okay, so a mild German accent with the key... So, see, it's difficult because it's like you got to clip. But then I
you used to live in Germany. You used to live in Germany, didn't you, for a number of years?
Jawohl. 24 Jahre vorher. In fact, ironic, they had that copper stabbed in Mannheim.
Yeah,
Mannheim is where I used to live, and it still is a lovely city, I'm sure. It's just, it was quite disturbing because I used to go shopping.
Yeah, that was a real tragic thing.
And the Lidl's. Yeah. Oh, it does my head in. It's like listening to people trying to pronounce things on that stupid film that Peter Jackson. Sorry, but he's a Kiwi I don't like. I've relatives in Kiwi land, by the way. My auntie emigrated over there in the 1950s. So I've got a bunch of cousins. She lived in Bluff for a very long time. She was actually married to a fella called Dixie Dean. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Well, would you believe it? I talk about, because Woody Boy is the Woody Woodpecker on his cartoon there. But my father went to school with somebody who literally was actually called Donald Duck. That was his name. Donald was actually his real name.
He wasn't in the Blues Brothers, was he?
No.
Did he end up being a... Was he a drummer? Was he a drummer, Donald Duck? Or was he on saxophone?
I don't know. But it was in the early 30s. That's when my father was born.
No,
in the early
30s. He was the bassist.
And he went to school with somebody called Donald Duck. And that was spelt the same way.
That was his
name.
First name Donald, surname
and his
Duck.
surname was Duck. And it was, So that I'm not, that is the absolute truth.
And he wouldn't have had any problems in school because kids
are
lovely, aren't they?
If you think your name is bad, then that one takes the biscuit, to be fair. But so there you have
Ducks often do.
So we should go to race C. Race C.
Hold on, let me get it.
It is the Toyota GR86 GR.
Or you can use the Scooby-Doo BRZ, which is the same car apparently underneath.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if anyone has done race C. I was watching Key doing it earlier. Now, they've used this quite a few times.
Or Digit doing it.
Yes. They've
had
it
on really...
It's sports hard tyre, isn't it?
So it's a bit...
It's not quite the same. I think they had racing softs the last time. I'm sure they had it on racing softs. And you had a pit stop. And you had a lot of grip. And now this is the thing, because when I was watching Key do it, it looked like the car, again, had real problems with energy transfer. And it was constantly swapping ends. Race C is an extravagant race A. So that's a good way to... So it's based on the same car. It was... Sports Soft. Was it Sports Soft the last time? Right, okay. Because it seemed to be a lot more fun when he had a bit more grip. But when you put these kind of sports hard tyres on, it's never maybe quite as good. What is your opinion on that one then, Andrew?
Well, I actually quite like this track.
Yeah.
Do you remember I'd never driven it, and there was like I can't remember which. It might have been one of your HHTCRs or one of Diaco's ones.
Yeah.
And I decided to just go on it and join them practicing.
Yeah.
And I actually quite liked it. I'd never been around it before, so I'm tiptoeing around trying to keep out of people's way and stuff, and it was fun. It was fun actually.
Yeah,
It's not reversed.
it's
though,
only
is it?
about
It's
7 laps. Oh no, thank God, it's not reverse. That would be horrendous. But,
there's a couple of bends where you really have to stand on the brakes and get it slow enough to get them round it. A couple of hairpins.
Yeah, the first corner,
the second,
and then the second
one. Yeah. The first corner you've got to get just right, or you just wash out onto the gravel, don't you?
Yeah.
But if you don't go quick enough, you just get passed by everybody who's got the exit speed, as we were saying earlier. And there's just looking at the map there. There's the what I would call the second full hairpin.
Yeah.
And it's downhill and the camber's out, and then you go down a hill afterwards, don't you?
Yeah.
And then there's like a double.
It's like the off camber as you go
double
right
at the bottom of the hill, which is all a bit dodgy, and then you've got it tightens. And they're a bit technical, but they're technical in a way that it's possible to do, if that makes sense. Whereas some of them, they're so complex. Some of these corners are so complex. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So it's a fun circuit. I probably wouldn't enjoy it with those horrible sports tyres on, because everything, you like you say, and because you can't set up the suspension. And I've had this opinion since you first brought me Gran Turismo Sport, that the standard setups for these cars is we want to kill you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what front engine, rear drive, rear engine, mid engine. The engine could be on the roof, it wouldn't matter. The back end would still swap on you. Under braking or under power or under anything. It's just, hey! So these are not going to be any better.
Yeah. But no, that's the thing.
So I'd probably hate it with standard suspension and standard those horrible tyres, because every time you try and do anything like brake or...
The Kiwi has put a very good... He says, I forgot a big reason why my times are fast. I spend way too much time in the rig. We thought that was the case. Road car BOP is awful in most cars. I think the biggest thing that gets me is the weight transfer. Because I've probably told this story before many a time, but that when I won a Mercedes day a few years ago, just before COVID, and I went down to Brooklands to the Mercedes Museum, which is well worth a trip. Actually, it's a brilliant centre. Yeah. No, it's Brooklands. It's the old Brooklands racetrack.
Isn't that Gaydon?
No, that's in the Midlands somewhere.
Is that further up? Oh, okay.
Yeah, further up.
Fair enough.
And it's well worth going, actually, because you can do proper driving days. You can drive a Mercedes AMG on a performance
track.
Video. We did it years ago. Yeah, we've got it. It's in the what do they call it, in the archives on our YouTube, on the channel. But there was a racing driver, a touring car driver, who actually took me around, and I was in this Mercedes AMG. I think it was a 4-wheel drive one. It was the C45. No,
it was a coupe,
C6,
wasn't it?
It was a C43. And the thing is, I'm sure I'd driven that car on Gran Turismo, and it was really hard, really understeery, kind of really quite difficult to drive. I got onto the track, and I kid you not, and I'm a mild driver. I'm not going to try and overrun my car driving skills in any way.
You're not your mother.
But I'm kind of very.
Sorry, a few stories about
I do like to get on, but it's kind of. But it was, I'm not any kind of driver of great skill. But this car was incredible. It turned into the bends so easily. You could, as you came around some of these tight bends, you could back off in time. The instructor would tell you, just give you a rough idea of what to do. And it was actually easier in real life than it was on the blooming game. Yeah. And this is what gets me. I don't know what you guys in the comments are thinking and watching, but do you not think that some of these cars are made almost more difficult to drive than they would be in real life? Because it seems to me that they are overly difficult, and the weight transfer. I mean, if you had a car that had such terrible weight transfer when you came to a corner, you would have to hand it back to the garage and say this is lethal. It's like having a Porsche 911. So because you would think, I can't drive this. Certainly when it gets more extreme, DDR is saying yes. And
he's agreeing with you. He's just saying that the Merc in last week's one, you had to engine brake, presumably to sort of.
Yes,
I have a little trick with my braking where I got it off. I was listening to a guy called Peter Windsor, who's been around Formula One for many years.
I met him at the Tim Clark room.
You met him, did you?
Yeah. Well, just to say hello. Yeah.
He
used to work for Williams.
He used to work for Williams. Yeah. It's really weird because I saw a video the other day where he was talking to someone in the paddock, but from 30 years ago, and it's just like, you know, people look really weird when you see them when they're old, and then you see them when they're young, and you've never seen them before. It's like, okay, looks weird. Anyway, Peter Windsor, some of his videos were quite good if you can get to the point, you know, of what he's saying, because he waffles a bit like some other people. That's me. And he was talking about what it is that Lewis and Max were able to do that gave them such an edge over their teammates in the same cars. So with Hamilton, it was Bottas, and with Thingy, it was everybody else's driven with, including Perez. And it's this thing of this ability. He was looking at the tyre wear, side to side and front to back. And they could equalise the tyre wear much more than other people. So they could make the tyres last longer, but also they got a better exit speed because their car was more stable going into the bend. And they did it by having, and it's all reaction times and all this kind of stuff, which I can't really do. It was that they were settling the car before turning in instead of going. So Bottas, for example, with Hamilton, he could often get pole.
Yeah,
but once he got in the race, 10 laps in, and he's so much slower because he's burnt his tyres out. So on fresh tyres, it works fine. But in the race, so I sort of took that on board and thought, right, I'm going to try something, and it's worked for me. Yeah, is where I lift the brake a little bit early, allow it to coast a bit, and then I put the power, maybe put the power down, or then I turn it. I'll leave a little bit of gap. Now I know that gap is too long. That's part of the reactions and getting better. But doing that, even on the game, really settles the car down, and I can get away with a lot more in what I'm having to do. And also turning less. It's another video I saw the other day, actually, talking about...
Yes, that's right, turning... Yeah, I think I saw
turning less, so you get less slip angle. Because if you have an understeery car, it's intuitive that you try and turn more, but all that'll do is mean you understeer more because your wheels have already got no grip and they're just going to slide more, you know? You've almost got to go back the other way until they can catch the grip. Yeah. And then this guy was saying that the reason why oversteery cars are a little bit more or faster, if you can use them, is that you get better turning. And then you can balance the car on the throttle and all this kind of stuff. But the problem is people get so used to turning too much. When it's an oversteery car, it throws the back end round. Yeah. So you spin. So you need to turn less and sort of dance it round the corner. That makes sense.
Kind of a bit like what Clark and Fangio used to do.
Clark, Fangio, Senna, they could just... It was so delicate. The things they could do are just incredible. And that, I think, is what makes, you know, the good into the great, the ability to do that kind of stuff.
Keith will own you. Good to see you, Keith, all the way from sunny Arizona. It's good to see you. Good to see you indeed. We're having, I'm sure it'll be warm. It'll be warm in Arizona. But well, I have to say, I'm really enjoying chatting about these races because I think I was thinking about what can we really do a good stream about, and I suddenly thought, well, we all do the races, and it's quite nice to think, right, let's talk about how we're getting quicker or what things we like, how what effect do these races have, or what do we think of them, and how we can improve on them, and things like that. And if any of you who are watching today, who are in the comments or who would like, or watching or listening on the podcast, if you would like to join us here with Rue and myself, and next week we'll have Neil as well, Neil Chandler, you are very welcome. Just let me know, send me an email at info@hughhatrick.com. And we will be able to have, we'll get you on the show and you can give your live comments. We might even get Woody Boy, or maybe even German Kiwi, or maybe even Dutchy, Darren, or all these guys that are there that are ready to go. Darren is here too.
We were just talking about you. Well, I was just talking about you. Yes. We were talking about ABS. Do you remember when I never used to use ABS and you kept telling me off? Always telling me, put that ABS on.
All right, so if you tried playing the F1 game and you turn the ABS, well, it doesn't have ABS on. It's horrible. It's so easy to lock your tires. And like iRacing is the same. It's just like you just put on the tiny bit of pressure and it locks the tires. You have to kind of do a lot of settings to try and make that work. But no, that's the thing. That's the thing. So shall we have?
It's ironic because people were talking about ABS and playing around with the levels of ABS, and I'm thinking, I'm not touching that. I'll get told off. I know.
Darth Vader. Darth Vader is with us. Good to see you, Darth.
Oh, excellent.
That's a very good icon. I do like that. I do like that indeed. That's very,
So,
very good.
going back to you talking about when you were driving the real Mercedes, the other
Yeah.
thing, of course, that I mean, they try to emulate, if you can buy a 40 grand hydraulically powered super rig, if you've got that kind of money, but is the actual, because it was always a thing in every car magazine I ever read and all this kind of stuff with all these great drivers and racing drivers, they talk about you drive the car through your bum.
Yeah. Yeah.
The feel.
That's
you
the thing.
can't. I've been driving since a couple of weeks now, and all the cars I've enjoyed to drive, the feel you got, you can't replicate the feel of speed and the transfer of weight that you feel. Whereas with these sim racing games, all we've got is the steering wheel and our eyes.
Yeah.
That's all we've got. We have to condition ourselves to sort of try and get the same kind of information.
Yeah, they call it muscle memory, don't they? That's what they call it. I remember David Perel using that term, muscle memory.
The muscle memory thing is what I was talking about how you train yourself up.
Yeah.
When things become automatic. No, I'm talking about when you're looking at the screen, you're driving along a circuit and it's going past you and you turn. In real life, we would be feeling how the car's doing that, and we will be feeling whether you're on the edge of the grip and stuff like this, yeah?
Yeah.
Whereas we can't do that, so we have to infer that kind of information from the screeching noises we're getting through the speakers and what we can see. That's all we've got, and the steering wheel, which makes it harder and nowhere near as much fun for me. Right.
South is saying Super GT and Stig were talking about that in the recent video that we mentioned earlier, which was was really good. And German Kiwi said, "You don't want me on, you won't get a word in edgewise." That makes it easier for me, Kiwi. That's exactly why I want you on, so I can just ask the question.
He has me on. That's why he likes it when I'm drunk, because I talk even more, and it's even more nonsense. So
No, that's the thing. Anyone that's watching, if you're a big GT fan or player and you think you can contribute to our conversation, you're more than welcome to come on the show. Just let me know. info@hughhatrick.com. And I should actually put that in the description. That would make a lot of sense. But we're always looking for guests to come on, and you can join us too and keep us all straight. And also we'll have Neil on next week. But that would be something. So now, dear C, Woody Boy is saying, in your head you simulate that feeling. That is true. So you're trying to remember what it
much
feels
better
like.
than I did. So that's kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So let me know, for all who are watching just now, are you finding that talking about the weekly races on GT7, I think it's a bit of a hit. We've got 22. We've had up to 23 watching, which is fantastic. And if you do like it, please hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you're new to the channel, then this is what you get. So if you would like to see more, then please subscribe. We've got a huge number of videos of interviews and also some race streams as well. I think we should do a quick F1 question slot now. What is the funniest thing about F1 at the moment? Because I've got something here for you.
The way personally, I think the funniest thing about F1 at the moment is that the way they keep fiddling with it and thinking they're clever and bringing out stupid cameras that you can't see anything out of because they're shaking so hard. Oh, it's such a cool camera angle. Yeah. How do we know that's the race? It could literally be someone holding a small camera going like that. The funniest thing is how they think they're doing such a good job because there's so many more fans and all the fans are idiots. They're all football fans.
Well, that's kind of how they regard it.
Fanboy. Hate that word. I was watching the Starship launch. Not the Starship launch. The Starship launch. The fourth one. Awesome. Fantastic. I mean, what an incredible achievement. And then there's all these comments, you Starship, you're ex-space fanboys, and I just want to... They should be banned from the English language.
But I think the funniest thing I think about F1 is poor old Perez, because he's just signed a contract to extend his career at Red Bull, and he's had the worst run of races in the last 2 races. He hasn't even qualified. He's ended up failing the races. And I think, goodness me, surely Christian Horner's going to say, well, I know you had that contract, but I think maybe not.
Well, there was some kind of internal power struggle, wasn't it? Was there? I mean, like I say, I don't even pay attention to it much anymore.
Yeah.
But, but wasn't there some kind of big internal power struggle with all these accusations that he had and all this kind of stuff? So some people were wondering whether Perez was part of his team, and that's why because Christian Horner's now won the power struggle.
To be fair, I'm surprised they've kept him on because I really didn't think.
He's a good boy, isn't he? And he does his told and keeps out of Max's way.
They should have had Ocon. That would have been funny.
And he's got all that Mexican drug money.
Esteban Ocon. No. Oh, well, yeah. Perez. Well, allegedly, I would.
Come on.
I'll circle back.
I wouldn't argue with him. Anyway, and on the flip side of that, you get poor old Carlos Sainz, who's an excellent driver, and has done a cracking job.
Won a race this year. Yeah.
And
yeah, no, that's the thing.
Got to drive.
And I think he's going to go to Williams, isn't it? The rumor is that he's going to go to Williams.
But Williams is okay. They might be getting a bit better, but it's not the Williams of our day. He deserves race wins. Someone of his caliber, not.
Yeah. It's not. Oh yeah, because Darren said.
Yes, Darren.
Stroll being a driver.
That's still being an F1 driver. Yeah, it's another one. And he's such a passionate little shit. I mean, he is horrible little. Ooh, you want to put him over your knee? He needed to be beaten with a wooden spoon when he was younger. Don't care how much money I've got. You're not allowed to do what you like. Horrible little.
Yes. Simon has said the Williams of our day. Those were the days. Yeah. Although they are. I mean, I have to say, Alex Albon.
Head.
Yeah, I know. And these
bombastic. Yeah. He reminds me of Melchett, from Blackadder. You just imagine him going, Meh, get in the car! No! Okay.
Now, German Kiwi said Red Bull should have signed Sargent. Then we could see how fast a car disintegrates when hitting the ball.
Oh, bless him. He tried so hard.
Yeah, poor thing, he's not had the best run of luck. Alex Albon, I have to say, he deserves a good run because he is really outperforming that car massively. And doing
it
a really
makes
good
you
job.
wonder even more what was going on in Red Bull because they had... I mean, look at... what's his name? Well, the French fellow, the one that Ocon keeps smashing into. No, the other one.
Gasly. Pierre Gasly. Because
Pierre Gasly was very promising, and then he goes to Red Bull, the main team, and he's crap, and then he leaves and he's promising again, and then they have Albon in, again, promising, and then he's in that team, and it's like... And then he leaves, and he's good again. It's... Summer...
It's a similar. I mean, Gasly won in Monza, that incredible race we won at Monza. Or was it Ocon that won at Monza? No, it was Gasly. No. Gasly won it. Now, where did Ocon win? Did Ocon not win a race, or did he come second somewhere?
I don't know. That must have been
somebody put me right on that one.
No, I mean, when Gasly won, it was more luck than judgment. It was another one of those ones where the safety car seems to come out at certain times, and it's really... we need to push all we've got to make sure that all the cars are together. No, that's not why we did it. Well, it always seems to happen like that.
Yeah. Now, here's a good question on Lando. I have to say, Lando has been the most interesting and the kind of almost a saving grace of this year's F1. Because when he won in Miami and when they got that car going in, but he's made the most of it. He's been there as much as he can. And now he's made the last few races far more exciting. And he's been the only one that's really been competitive every race on the last few that have really brought it to Max. And I'm hoping. I mean, he was so close to even getting it in Canada and before. Now, where were they racing? But in not Monaco, but in other places. He's certainly proven himself really actually to be. I think he's actually overtaken Hamilton.
He's a top tier, top class driver. He really is very special, and he's such a. I mean,
he's very calm. He's not over. He's got a good character. I think.
It's so nice to find someone. I mean, to be able to drive like that, you've got to know that you're good. You can't get into an F1 car and be that good and not know you're good. I'm not talking about, there's doubts, there's always doubts, that kind of thing. But to be able to get the best out of a car like that, you've got to have confidence in yourself. But he shows there is a difference between confident and cocky. Whereas Stroll's cocky and refuses to see.
And his interviews are dreadful. You think he's did he go to school? I mean, he can barely answer a question without. When he was asked about Senna, he said, "Oh yeah, Senna, the Terminator." And we thought, what? What is he saying? He has absolutely no idea that his YT channel was like, yeah, that's right. Lando's got his own YouTube channel. I've seen little bits of that. But yeah, so yeah, Stroll is dreadful.
He has humility. Exactly. He's the kind of that if your daughter brought him home and said, "Oh, it's my
You're not going to shoot him.
You're like, all right, I'll give you a chance. One. Whereas Russell, I don't know. I mean, I like Russell. He's quick and he's great. But sometimes I just kind of think,
I don't know if Russell has actually
from?
performed as well as maybe he should have done. I know he has been there in some races, but I think, I just don't know. I think there was a lot of promise when he was at Williams. Stroll is okay, but I think he needs to try IndyCar. Yeah, I think that's the
pedal cars. He needs to try pedal cars.
Well, you know, on the Sky TV, they quite often have Danica Patrick on.
Danica Patrick,
but she was similarly caused near misses and near fatal accidents when she was in IndyCar. There was quite a few.
I told you that there was. I've told you. I know I've told you this story because it was when I realised that Formula One and single seat motor racing, any motor racing, is actually the ideal sport for men and women to fight on an equal basis, because in actual fact women have the advantage because of their size. Because it was the only Indy 500 I actually watched, and it did my head in because the problem with the Indy 500 is that they race for 10 laps, someone's in the lead, and then there's a crash, and everybody comes into the pits, and then they all come out, and there is no relation as to how they went in to what order they are when they come out. And it's like, well, this is 500 miles, 200 miles, 500 laps.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to the last 10 laps. What the? I can't keep up what's going on. Anyway, Danica Patrick had a big smash in that. And she did a Schumacher versus Coulthard, because she, of course, blamed somebody else. Somebody else did it. And she's going down the pit lane with her helmet still on, going to go kill someone. And I could have sworn it was Nick Heidfeld. Because you know, Nick Heidfeld used to walk like a girl. And I mean in the sense that he used to swing his shoulders, swing his hips. Just the way he looked. And I'm like, no, yeah, it's Nick Heidfeld. Oh, no, it's not. It's
Danica Patrick.
It's Danica Patrick. No. And tiny, and so's most F1 drivers. The tallest one we've ever had was Justin Wilson, bless, who died a few years ago in Indy.
Yeah, that was a real tragedy.
He couldn't fit in the car. They had to redesign the car. That's why I couldn't get a drive. He was in the Minardi, and because your ankles have to be behind the front axle, he physically couldn't fit in the car. They used to say that Gerhard Berger used to lose, compared with Alesi in the Ferraris, used to lose something like 10 horsepower because he was a bit taller, and his helmet interfered with the air going into the airbox.
Right. So
he, at top speed, he lost horsepower because he was, so little bit. But Danica Patrick, she won one race.
Wow.
She's the first woman to win an IndyCar race.
The current one, the British, what's the name? The British one. It's gone straight out of my head.
Jonathan's favourite one. What's the name, Jonathan?
Who we met in First Class Lounge.
You keep taking dodgy pictures of her, remember? Tell me I'm wrong.
Jamie Chadwick. Yes, Jamie Chadwick. She
That's
won
it.
the IndyCar Junior race recently. She won, and one of the first people to do it in
she?
years.
Oh, good for her.
And from Pole, she went on and did it.
All of
She's
these
good.
people are
She's good.
so much faster than I'll ever be. So you've got to have some respect for whatever that. Even the worst. I've said this before. Even what's his name? Narain Kartikeyan, who was terrible. Is probably the fact that he could get a Formula One car around a circuit means he's definitely faster than I will ever be. Because these are the top 20 driving positions in the world.
Yeah.
So it's not, we look at them and then we see somebody rubbish, but they're rubbish compared with Max Verstappen. In a Red Bull. It's like, it's not, it's like they're up here and it's like, oh, look at him, he's down here. And then we're sort of on the 50th floor down compared with, they're all amazing and brilliant. But just, look, Tiff Needell, everybody says how great a driver he is. You know what he's won?
He only made, was it a Grand Prix? I think one Grand Prix.
He did one Grand Prix, and he won because he keeps going on about it, the Rover 220 Challenge.
That's that was a while ago.
Woo!
Aaron has struck the nail on the head there.
What?
By saying, I think that the most important thing in F1 at the moment is that the female presenters, Sky, have got some stunners. Yeah, the Italian Sky have got some stunners. I'm not sure about the UK ones, but
I've still got a very soft spot for Louise Goodman.
Yeah,
she
was
really knew what she was talking about, and she had long legs. Long legs. She might not be the prettiest in the world, but when she bent over in British touring cars.
Yeah.
Matt Neal, and hopefully, and the cameraman would courteously step back from her, and you're like, yes, ask Matt Neal some questions. But the thing is that she really knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
She was married. She was married to. Oh God, he died.
It was a Formula 1 person, wasn't it? It was a Formula 1.
He was technical director for. Yeah. Oh, can't remember his name. She's married to him. She used to work for Eddie Jordan in the F1 team, so she really knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's just like, oh.
It is, yeah. It is quite.
Bring back Brundle, Murray. Where are you?
That was the thing. Now they did. What was the thing? Now was it with? I think it was with Leclerc. They did a thing with Leclerc. Oh no, it was with Senna recently. When it was Monaco, because it was 30 years since Senna had won. They were celebrating his 6 victories.
It is Leclerc.
Yeah. But it was. It's
got to be done.
They did a celebrating Senna's 6 victories, and they had one of the new presenters who I think does the F1 presenting. I think it wasn't on Sky; it was on another one. I don't think it was on Sky, but it wasn't. It was like one who does maybe the radio host. So it wasn't anyone new. And the thing is, they dubbed over Murray Walker's voice. So because he had obviously Murray Walker had commentated over.
Well, this wasn't like the races. 5 Live people that I ditched last year.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just got so sick of the inane shite they kept going on.
Yeah.
Half an hour talking about cheese sandwiches. It's like Formula 1, please.
Yeah, but no, they got this guy to do it, but it just wasn't the same in effect of the emotion. I think he was probably being genuine, but it just didn't. It came over a bit like James Allen, who never sounded genuine when he was doing it. It was always going to.
Did anybody else remember the special campaign? Okay, there's a website called sniffpetrol.com, and it was an anonymous website, but it was a sort of a P-take of car magazines. Found out later it was one of the writers for Evo magazine that actually did it. So an insider. But they had, when James Allen came on to Formula 1, they had T-shirts, everything could stop the cock. You could buy Stop the Cock T-shirts.
He got everything.
Stop James Allen ruining Formula 1.
Yeah. He got, after he did commentating, they gave him the job of interviewing during the press conferences. He was one of the main questions.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, he did all
he used to be the pit. He was really good in the pit lane. Yeah, before Ted Kravitz. Ted Kravitz got the job because James went up into, he was crying, bless him. He's like,
I'd love to get Ted on the show. Who would like to get Ted Kravitz? Ted's
Kravitz.
Yeah, Ted Kravitz. Yeah, I would like to get.
With his notebook.
Ted on the show. I think that would be incredible. I don't know how we could do it, but if anyone knows him, if anyone has any possible connection, it would be incredible to get Ted on. Because he is lovely. He's a decent bloke. He just comes over as a really decent bloke.
Terry's right. I'll start watching F1 again. It's never been as good. You need Murray Walker. Okay, this is my dream team. Murray Walker, Louise Goodman. Okay, I liked Lee McKenzie because again, she was. I mean, I've got a weakness for the Scottish accent, but she knows what she's talking about. Okay, she's knowledgeable, worth doing. So Louise Goodman, Murray Walker, Brundle, and Johnny Herbert. Yeah,
they were good. I like the.
My God, the favourite thing I've ever seen, which is not even anything to do with F1, is that they stood there for some godforsaken reason out in the rain in the back. Why do they do that? And Johnny just looks across and they're talking about Le Mans and he goes, "You driving Le Mans, are you?" And he grabs his buddy and goes, "You're too fat!"
And that's it.
I'm like, and they're all going, and he's like, "Get off me." Human beings, that's what you want. You want human beings, mate.
Yeah.
Instead of
from the heart.
Cheese sandwiches.
Well, that's now. What I was saying, Oh, actually, I'll go back up a bit. Darren Turner was saying, did anyone watch Sky's Last Teammate for Senna? Yeah, that was really good. That was with Damon Hill, wasn't it? That was a really good. I enjoyed that video. That was on a wee while ago. And then Woody Boy says, I'd rather get Martin Brundle on. Well, actually, to be fair, I have
on Evans
on my Facebook, Alex Brundle, his son, comes up on my
He's got
friend list.
a channel.
Yes, I might.
Actually, he popped up yesterday in my feed, for YouTube. The scariest moment in Brundle's driving career.
Yeah,
and I didn't realise
it's
really good. Where he was, was it an F2 race or something like that? And Senna, or in Formula One. No, it was in Formula One, and he was driving some terrible car, and in the rain.
Yeah.
And suddenly the car, their tyres were slightly. I think that he had the Goodyears were slightly better, and he had the Pirellis. I can't remember. And he's swapping ends, and he was very lucky going straight down the middle, and then he stopped, and he is like, I don't know which way I'm pointing.
That's right. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah. And
all he could do was drive forward and hug the side, and then he saw one of the brake boards, and he's like, oh, phew.
Yeah.
Up behind him, full speed, boom, Senna, right up the arse.
And that's a famous picture. That's a famous video clip.
And this was not long after him and Prost had come together, and he'd been disqualified, and he'd lost the championship. So he was on a mission. He was absolutely angry as anything.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Brundle would be great to get on. We need to
he's very so knowledgeable.
Yeah, and he worked so well with Murray Walker. He was really good with Murray Walker, and James Hunt's son now sounds exactly like he does. He's quite often done voiceovers for cartoons and different things. When the McLaren did a tribute to James Hunt for their cartoon thing, they did a number of years ago. But now I'm trying to remember his son's name. Is it Dan or what's? It's I don't know. He sounds remarkably and I thought, wouldn't it be just great just to get him on and just have him commentate.
All I know about James Hunt, really, in terms of his personal life, shall we say?
Freddie Hunt, that's right. Freddie Hunt, yeah.
Freddie Hunt. Okay, thank you, Simon. Was that what he was? The 1989 Australian?
Yeah.
Is that if a reporter needed to talk to him, they had to go into his budgerigar shed.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's where he used to go to imbibe, and all these budgerigars are going, tweet, man. tweet.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I always remember that
for some reason.
That incredible lap at Donington Park when Senna went from 7th to 1st.
Lap of the gods.
And I was there to watch it. I were to watch it live with John, which was great fun for my 18th birthday. And even that when you watch, because the thing is, we all raced back that night.
18 once.
Wow. I was 18. Yeah, that was a long time ago. But I think Woody Boy is only 18, but he's just telling us.
Did you have hair then?
50s or 60s. I did have some hair. But who was best, Senna or Prost? Well, Prost was more reliable in terms of, but it was the flair and it was the charisma. Probably Formula One is a bit about charisma,
talent,
isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say with
charisma and
driving talent, you've got to go with Senna, haven't you? Just pure, unadulterated. But it's like Schumacher. Schumacher he had it there, and he was great with people, and he could build a team around himself. But he could not have done what he did, and Ross Brawn could not have done what he did with him. If Schumacher couldn't deliver, you see.
Yeah.
So I've seen loads of interviews with Brawn. Brawn's one of my little heroes. I think he's great. And he would say that he would get on the radio. He goes, right, we need 5 laps at this time. And he would do 5 laps, and it would be that time. The other one that could do that was Jackie Stewart. Because there's an interview you see with Ken Tyrrell where he's saying he went round, I think it was the Nürburgring or whatever. I can't remember which track it was actually. But I might be getting mixed up with the video I saw of him driving the Nürburgring, explaining how to get around it. The original Regenmeister, actually. He was the original Rainmeister, and the guy that christened it the Green Hell. He won by 4 minutes in the rain. It's like barely drivable. And anyway, he would do 5-6 laps at exactly the same time within 100th of a second. It was like a machine. So that's maybe over a 1 lap or in the lap of the gods kind of situation, Senna was supreme. You know, he was incredible. But Prost got his world championships by, I mean, I don't know, he must have been able to drive fast, but he could manage the car as well. And
he was reliable. He would reliably finish up in the points, well up in the points, and get podiums.
Look at Max.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Max. I think he can be a bit of a tit, and the way he's driven over the years, where he thinks that one move means as long as the steering wheel's continuously moving, you know. That's why Raikkonen used to call him a twat and swear at him, because he'd be doing this in Melbourne, you know. I don't care. So I'm not a massive fan of his, but the kid doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, very reliable.
He just doesn't. I mean, Lewis used to make mistakes. I used to get quite disappointed. It's like, you know, I wanted him to do well in the early days before he got so
China
his own arse.
China 2007.
China 2000, exactly.
That was
he couldn't control his emotions. Actually, it always goes on about you've got to control your emotions, take your emotion out of it, and then you can drive.
Maybe
he was like, I've got to win, I've got to win, I've got to win. Idiot! You could have been the first rookie world champion. You could have just got it under control. Max doesn't do any of that. He just...
Here's a question. Really. Here's a question for you, perhaps as we bring things to a close. What has happened to Lewis Hamilton?
Sorry, Simon has put it perfectly. Yeah. Senna was faster, but Prost was wiser. That's a very good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Carry on.
What do you think has happened to Lewis Hamilton? I don't know how to answer that one, isn't it? Because it's like I'm a big fan of Hamilton overall, not so much the last few years since he's taken up his politics, but I don't think he's lost his skill, but I think he must have really lost his mojo for Mercedes. I think he's fed up with Mercedes and he just wants it to end. You know, he just wants to get to Ferrari and do something else.
An answer to that question will be how he is in Ferrari.
Yeah.
I don't know why they've taken him there. They've got Leclerc. What do they need to rock the boat?
Yeah. It'll be quite an interesting mix, mind. What do you guys in the comments think? What do you think with Hamilton? Because it is now it's a kind of love or hate situation, isn't it? Lewis on spinning image was class. I don't think I've seen that.
I must have missed that.
But, I must have missed that.
Spitting Image is back. When did Spitting Image come back? I don't watch normal telly anymore. I refuse to pay the BBC to tell me how evil I am and not represent me. Well, look, I keep hearing that if you don't see your face in a film or the telly, you just can't associate with it. So I never see my face on anything anymore. So I can't associate with any of them, can I? So I don't watch them.
But it does, I think, going back to the Hamilton issue, because he's got incredible skill, brilliant experience. It would be lovely to see the Mercedes closer. And they were a little bit closer in Canada, but he just doesn't seem to be getting any luck or any breaks at all. He's finishing 7th and 8th on average.
I don't really know. I don't know what's been happening because, like I say, I've not really been. I literally just ditched it. Halfway through.
I still watch it.
Sick and tired of it. I know you do, and you've been enjoying it, but I can't get into it because I can't see anything. Oh my God. Yeah. Last year at Monaco, they showed a clip of, I think it's the third from last corner or second from last corner of the lap.
Yeah.
And you got the car approaching, you got the actual corner, and then the car leaving, and they had 3 camera angles for the one move. Boom, boom, boom. It's like watching a fight scene in a Marvel TV show.
I know it needs to be higher up so you can see them coming and you can get a continuous.
You need to see a continuous thing for us. If an overtaking manoeuvres, it's like flick, 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 flick.
Yeah,
it's like watching a Transformers movie. You can't see anything. So what's the point of watching it? It's literally what's the point of.
I think. But I think.
So what's been happening? I don't know what's been happening with him. Has he not been able to keep up with Russell?
I think he's too much influenced by Hollywood now. And that has taken over his, when he had to do, bending the knee all the time and all this kind of stuff. It just took him away from the actual racing. It's anything like that is a distraction. That's why a lot of them didn't bother, or they didn't bother kneeling, or they, a few of them did, but then they left. And it's kind of, you need to be focused on the race and not be distracted by all these other things. And I think he's got too much into the Hollywood stuff. are not really into.
Well, he's become another one of
the
these £200 million
Yeah.
victims, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's so oppressed. He's so oppressed. He had to sell his private jet so he could say that he doesn't use a private. He doesn't
For the
use his
environment,
private jet.
That,
Instead, he uses
yeah.
P Diddy's or I don't know,
I
50
do-
cents or whatever. I don't know. Think of a.
I agree with
somebody uses it.
Woody Boy. He said BTCC and WRC is much better. Yeah, I agree with that. And certainly the World Rally Time. Although what annoys me is that when they have it in Britain, they have it down in. I know you're from Wales, do you like
Darren.
that? but on one dress, you know,
What earring he's going to put in?
Dear me! Oh, we're gonna get.
Hi, my hairstyle. I can't get my hairstyle.
We'll get.
Where's he from? Is it Slough or something
I don't
like
know.
that?
He wears some like pajamas,
Oh,
or like it looked like a
because
big.
that's
big
the,
kind of
the
tracksuit.
fashion. God, thank
thought-
God I'm not fashionable.
Oh goodness! At least Senna would wear a kind of pair of khaki trousers and a jersey, or something that looked kind of reasonable. And it was
Senna apparently was a really wonderful person. Like genuinely, he did so much for so many people that no one knew about.
Yeah.
Because that's the old thing, isn't it? That if
the
you're
character.
letting everybody else know what you're doing, it's
Yeah.
you're not really being kind, are you? You're just showing off.
Yeah.
Whereas he tended to sort of
Well, I remember
keep
reading
it
his
quiet.
book by one of the after he died. There was a chap who wrote a book about him, and it was all full of people's experiences of meeting Senna, and a lot of them were in airport lounges, and they weren't even like first class lounges; they were just normal airport lounges, and he'd be waiting to get his plane back home or wherever he was going, as he was just flying a lot, and he would speak to people and just be really nice to them, and just shake the hand or give them an autograph and talk away and that. And I think that's a really natural thing. Well, of course, he came up to Scotland. He came up to Loreto and did a speech there because Jim Clark was his hero, and so he did a speech for the school. So it's he's depressed because he has no more room for tattoos. I know he's got tattoos everywhere. I think he's just got so involved with all the kind of worldly stuff, it's just distracted him from what he needs to get down there and race.
Just going to say, I agree, Darren. I've tried to show it, but somebody else has taken care of it. I do agree. I'm not going to.
That's the thing. Oh, it's been funny. It's been good fun tonight.
But it's true. I mean, the silver arrows. Listen, as a person that did colour chemistry while he was in Germany, I know that white, black, grey, silver, they're all the same thing. They're all achromatic. So they're effectively the same colour. They're no colour. It's all wavelengths, different luminescences, different amounts of reflection of the incident light. So,
and I think so many fans,
the silver arrows becoming the no longer quite so silver arrows.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
But ever since Abu Dhabi 2020, I think it was or 2021, when they had when there was that unfortunate incident of epic proportions, I think it's put a lot of us off, and it's taken a long time for us kind of fans to come back again and really kind of.
Oh, you mean where Michael Massey?
Yeah, made a real dodgy.
Suddenly the rules changed for 10 minutes, and then you get people going, "Oh, you're a fanboy, a Lewis fanboy." No, I think Lewis is a tit. He's in his little bubble. He's been done what, like you say, the Hollywood. It's like they might start quite relatively normal if they live in Hollywood.
Yeah,
they're all going to go nuts, whatever, because it's
Hollywood,
it's a bubble.
It's
they
crazy,
have no idea what goes on outside of their little area in the real world.
Yeah.
But he's spent too many years on his private jets, in first class, not being around people. What is it? Joe Rogan. It was something else. Just something popped up, a little short thing about one of these Joe Rogan. Podcast things. He's just chatting with someone. Goes him and his wife and his kids. So we're at this resort in Mexico. It was.
Yeah.
There is resort, beautiful place, absolutely gorgeous beach, all this kind of stuff. Obviously, he'd paid a bit of cash to get there, and they got these sort of buggies, like big golf buggies.
Oh yeah.
You go around, you can drive around, and he went because he's crazy. He went, "Can we go down here?" And the assistant person was yeah, but he goes, "Okay." So off he goes, and he goes down this road, and he's suddenly faced with this full-on tank. And he's taking photographs of it. It was like a massive armoured car with a 50 cal on the helmets and body armour and all this. And he suddenly realised this was basically they had their own private army to protect the super rich people in this resort.
Yeah.
And they said this is a place where you'd find like Halle Berry and all of these Hollywood people. And that's what Lewis is in. He's in.
He's kind of been.
He's got PR people around him all the time and bodyguards. He's like these YouTube idiots that go around with a bodyguard now because they want to upset people and get away with it, so they get punched in the face like they need to. It's Darren
and Simon have come up with some very good quotes there. That
if Lulu had
his way.
Lulu.
That's
fantastic. I usually call him Hamburgertron. People don't know what I'm talking about. Lulu Hamburgertron. They would be rainbow arrows.
Yes, when you're in Saudi Arabia.
Except in China and Saudi Arabia. They wouldn't have them there, would they? Oh, no. Oh, Lulu.
Well, I think on that note...
make me shout, Darren. Oh, very good. Simon, very good with his puns. Do you get it?
Before we get another strike from YouTube, there'll be.
All I can say is you shouldn't rush into these music jokes. I get rush in at least once. Come on, it's got to be done.
Oh, that's the thing. Look, it's been phenomenal tonight. It's been great to have you all with us. You, Rue, and everybody who has been watching and commenting away, and whether you've put your name in the comments or not, it's been great to have you with us. I really thank you for watching and putting your time aside.
Quick question.
Yes.
What's that thing on your windowsill?
That is a car.
Okay, help. And?
Yeah,
which
Toyota
one?
GR86. No, it's the Group 3 Supra. Okay. And I got this at the Autosport show this year. But so I got that back because that's perfect for because it's Gran Turismo.
I thought it was a tortoise. Carry on.
No, it's a Gran Turismo. But look, it's been fantastic to have everybody watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you, Rue, for coming on board and for doing this. We're going to be doing this every week. So next week we'll be doing the same thing at the same time with going over GT7 races and then a bit more F1 rant. We'll have the Spanish Grand Prix this week. So hopefully we'll be able to see what's happened then. Maybe Lando,
see if they can get around that stupid corner at the end.
Well, no, they've taken away the chicanes now.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
In Spain. So
we'll if they get penalised before they even start a lap. Stupid.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And remember, only on this channel do you get corny lines, and ours is the corniest. It is, of course.
Which one are we on? Are we on the bus one or on the crash one?
Of course, you've just given it away.
Come on,
drive fast, but drive your bus even faster. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Bye just now.
Bye.